today we're going to be talking about some of the most unique books that I have ever read. I know there are some more unique books on my shelves that I haven't read yet, but we're going to talk about the ones that I have, okay? So the first one that I want to talk about is Ship of Theseus by J.J. Abrams and Doug Dorst. This is built to look like a old library book, and it is probably the most unique book that I've ever read. So there are two different stories going on within this book itself. There is the full narrative of The Ship of Theseus, which is a novel by V.M. Straka, as well as a conversation between two different people who pick up this novel and begin to have a conversation in the margins of the book. As the story of The Ship of Theseus is going on, these two people in the margins are having a conversation about the mysterious identity of V.M. Straka because nobody really knows who he is. There's also inserts within here that tell a little bit more about the story as these two people are passing the book back and forth. They put things in the margins, so this is like you're finding their copy of the book. There's also multiple timelines happening at one time within the kind of story of the two people who find the book in the margins, and those timelines are separated by their ink pen colors. For my experience, the actual book, The Ship of Theseus, reads a bit like a classic. It's about a man with seemingly no past who is sent on this journey, but the story of Jennifer and Eric chronicles their journey trying to figure out who V.M. Straka is, but also discussing some big major life decisions that they're going to have to make, like who they want to be, what they want to do, and eventually falling in love with each other through the margins of the book. It is just so good. I feel like you could definitely get a bit lost in the sauce with this one because there's so many things going on, but I definitely recommend looking up, how best you should read it. I personally went through and read the novel The Ship of Theseus before, ignoring everything in the margins and also all of the inserts inside of the book. I just read the story of The Ship of Theseus itself, and then I went back and read each timeline of the margins. And with the inserts, it was a very complicated experience. It took me about 3 weeks to a month to read this book, and I loved every second of it. I absolutely loved it. It's definitely one of those books that once you finish it, you want to go back and try and kind of piece together certain things about it. I read it in 2021, and I still am thinking about this book constantly. It is a very unique reading experience. If you're wanting something unique, like something completely out of the box, try this one. It's a very unique reading experience as well as a unique story in itself. Next, we have Night Film by Marisha Pessl. This is a book that I'm very conflicted about because I have never had a reading experience in which I have loved so many things about a book and hated so many things about a book. This book is following this kind of disgraced journalist as he is trying to uncover the mystery behind the seeming suicide of this woman named Ashley Cordova. Ashley Cordova being the daughter of this cult film director named Stanislas Cordova. This obviously has some inserts within it. These are my annotations. Don't look too closely. It is told in a mixed media format, but that's not what made it unique for me. It's written in a way that is very frustrating, and it feels like you're constantly working towards something without having that payoff, that relief that you get from finding answers. It's following the investigation of a man who is so far into mystery that his movies are literally banned from being played in movie theaters, and they have this underground system of people who go and watch these movies like in tunnels and shit. It's very strange. It's also very disturbing and paranormal ? It's a very interesting reading experience. I loved the characters in this one, and it's definitely a unique book. My favorite thing is Monsters by Emile Ferris. This is a graphic novel that is absolutely massive, but the main story is following this little girl named Karen as she is trying to solve her neighbor's murder, and throughout this we see what Karen is observing about the people around her and how their stories perhaps connect or don't connect to the murder of her neighbor. It's written in a way that looks like a notebook that somebody has drawn in, and the art is just absolutely to die for. It is so beautiful. I think it is absolutely fantastic. It's a beautiful and unique story, and it's in my opinion, something that you're going to want to take your time with. Next, we have My Dark Vanessa by Kate Elizabeth Russell. This is about a woman named Vanessa, and we are following her in two separate timelines. In 2000, when she is a student at this boarding school and she is actively being groomed and assaulted by one of her teachers, and in 2017, when another woman comes forward and accuses the same teacher of something similar happening to her. This was a unique reading experience for me because I've never read a book quite like it, and I don't think I ever want to again. It's very, very dark. You as the reader can see the abuse taking place. You can see the warning signs, but in that past perspective, Vanessa is not seeing this. So on the one hand, it seems like it's being romanticized, but then you come back to 2017 Vanessa and you can kind of see her beginning to realize that what happened to her was abuse and that she was taken advantage of, and perhaps her past relationship with this teacher was not as rosy as she once thought it was. It is a beautiful and hard to read story. It is one of the most difficult books that I've ever read in my entire life. I was sobbing throughout the majority of it, but it is such an amazing story. If you think that you can handle it, I would definitely recommend that you check this out. Next, we have a story that is horrifying in a completely different way. We have Uzumaki by Junji Ito. This is the story of a town that is cursed and haunted by a spiral, a literal spiral, like a spiral, okay? I mean, you can just like literally look at this and see how bonkers it is. Junji Ito is able to make a seemingly mundane thing just completely and utterly horrifying. A spiral is such a mundane thing. It's just a shape. You see it everywhere, but after you read this book, you will not be able to stop seeing spirals everywhere. They will haunt you. They will stalk you. They will creep into your dreams at night. Next, we have The Masterpiece by Émile Zola. I read this in college, and it's one of my favorite books that I have ever read in college, okay? And it is unique in the sense that I had never read a book before this one that follows a man as he is going insane due to his own genius. In this, we're following Claude, who is an aspiring artist. He's very talented, and he is going to embark on creating what he deems to be his masterpiece. And you just watch as he slowly descends into absolute madness and can do nothing to stop it. And he kind of takes down everyone else with him. It is so deeply disturbing, but you also can't look away because it's like a beautiful tragedy. But it's unique in the sense that I think that it captures that descent into madness in such a beautiful and poignant and thought-provoking way. The only comparison that I have to this is Crime and Punishment, and that is saying a lot, okay? The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. This is one of my favorite books of all time, and it's also the only book that it's all vibes. It's all vibes and atmosphere, and that's the magic of the book. It's technically following this circus that only comes out at night. It only comes out at night, and it moves by the next day. And within this circus, we are following these two different magicians who are having a sort of battle. They're having a magician battle, and it's their love story as well. So, like I said, this is solely vibes. It's solely vibes. There's a ton of characters in this, and if you try too hard to find a plot, you will not find one, but it is so atmospheric and beautiful and wonderfully written. Erin Morgenstern's imagery is just so profound and visceral that I just had to get my creative bone out of my body and scribble all over the pages, okay? It's all vibes. So if you're in for a good vibe, not a long vibe, go in for this, vibes. And then last but not least, I have And Every Morning the Way Home Gets Longer and Longer by Frederick Bachman. This is a painfully tiny book. It is a teeny tiny little morsel of a book, but it is unique in the sense that I have never read a book that has said so much in so little pages. So we are following this man who his grandson is his best friend, and unfortunately he has dementia. So he is going through and trying to explain to his grandson what is going on inside of his head. And obviously every morning the way home gets longer and longer. I have never read a book that hit so hard, packed such a enormous punch in so little time. It is so thought-provoking and emotionally driven, and it's just so amazing. So amazing, so delicious, so delectable, so delightful. Except you will probably cry the whole time, so maybe not delightful, I don't know. So those are some of the most unique books that I have ever read. Please let me know down below, what is the most unique book that you have ever read? I would love some recommendations. I love a little weird. We love a little weird around here, okay? Please make sure to like and subscribe if you have not already. I hope you have a fantastic day, gorgeous, and I will see you next time.